getting such a good time, they feel obliged to say good things. Well, let's try and be totally objective. Criticize, make bad criticisms, whatever you want to do. That's what we really would like you to do. So is that a deal?
Well, it's a deal as long as you get that rickshaw that Danny Craven came into as a get-out vehicle right at the end of the game.
All right, we'll do that. Okay, well, as you can see, the team's coming out onto the field. There's the Transvaal side, wearing, as usual, special badges to commemorate to celebrate the centenary. Garth Wright, Springbok skipper. What a tremendous job he's done. Garth Wright, Springbok skipper, watch his work rate. I think he's one of the fittest international rugby players you'll ever come against. He's the guy who pops up at the end of the line and scores the try. Terrific player, well worth watching. As you can see, not a great crowd.
Maar ek dink vandag gaan ons baie goeie rugby sien en veral hierdie
no excuses. Referee Tiens de Toy. As I say, I spoke to Coach Derek Minnie beforehand, looking a little bit nervous. They've worked hard in practice Transvaal, but a couple of disappointments, well beaten by Northern Transvaal. What he said was they're going to use this game, they're going to try and enter into the festival atmosphere, but they certainly want to use it as preparation for the Currie Cup. Cameron Oliver injured his ankle playing in a charity soccer game, but by all accounts fit and well. And away we go. Wouldn't expect the South African side to run the ball from behind their own post, even.
No, what's interesting is that it's become the norm now for that kind of kickoff for the ball just to go over to minors so that the dropout there and then possible possession from the dropout.
Sure. Good start by Transvaal, looking to move it, little chip through and so on, trying to establish a bit of early dominance.
Later in the game, John, whether he'll be quite willing to run the ball as fast across the field in his feet as that first action.
Well, as you said, very, very hot indeed. This will be interesting. A bit of criticism about the throwing in of Bruder Oberl to the hooker. They just miscued that one. What I think was interesting was that Transvaal winning a good line-out ball, getting it away. Transvaal had problems in the middle of the line-out. You'll probably see a lot of lifting, Martin. They have a different interpretation here. I think a lot of overseas people are horrified by it, but the end result will be a lot better line-out ball.
Well, it's a debate that goes on between Northern and Southern hemispheres, as you know, but rather noticeable from that first line-out. Man clearly lifted before the ball had really gone over the 5-meter line, which would have been penalised by a Northern Hemisphere referee.
And certainly this one as well. A first penalty of the game. And look at Cameron Oliver looking for the quick one. That's nice to see. I doubt if he'd have done it in a Currie Cup match, though. Very interesting. Line-out ball 1. Eastern Province not retiring 10 metres. The penalty given, an easy kickable penalty for Cameron Oliver. He immediately looked for that quick tap. Unfortunately, just fumbled it slightly. But no problems. Good attacking scrum for Transvaal, and Garth might well work the short side here. Interesting bit of fisticuffs on the side. Toby Oosthuizen.
Cameron Oliver het precies voor ons aangeduid dat hulle vandag die bal absoluut wil laat werk en terwijl hy op die grond gespeeld wordt en een strafschop weer eens aan Transvaal toegekend wordt.
En hierdie keer gaan Cameron Oliver beslis spale toe mat. Hy was trouwens gistermiddag die enigste skopper van die 6 spanne wat 'n hele lang ruk van elke moontlike hoek op die veld pale toe gemik het en baie goed gevaar het. Glad nie 'n moeilike skop nie. Hy's daar.
Ja, Jan, en ek het nou dat interessante statistiek gehoor. Ek kan nie onthou wat 30 of 40 skoppe na mekaar in klub as ook eerste liga wedstryde wat Cameron Oliver nie een skop gemis het daarbo in die Transvaal nie. Voorware voortreffelike prestasie.
Nee, hy is 'n masjien.
Neither did the fellow there. He knew exactly where the ball was going, 3 points, no problem.
The comments on Cameron Oliver are interesting. A lot of people talking about him as a possible successor to Naas Botha, so keep an eye on him. Scrappy play. Very untypical play, really. Transvaal winning the ball fairly clean, then messing around, a lot of scrappy play. And again, a little bit fortunate to get a penalty out of it, I think.
I think perhaps they need a little bit of composure down there. That's a couple of times now where they've scrabbled the ball away. It's been unclean ball, not usable ball, and off to the centre, and nobody really getting any advantage of the possession.
Absolutely. Still quite an inexperienced side. But interesting, Martin Knutze, of course, taking the kick, the touch kick, a left-footed, good left-footed kick out. Again, scrappy stuff by EP now.
En daar is stryd om die bal. En is Wiese wat vir die bal tevoorskyn kom en daar die losgemaal. En jou waarlik waar weer 'n keer val die bal vas.
Ja, baie goeie beheer daarso deur die middel deur Kobus Wiese. Mens kon sien hy die bal beskikbaar gehad, goeie ondersteuning en presies wat ek vroeër gesê het wat verkeerd was, het hulle daar reg gedoen en 'n mens kon sien hoe daadwerklik dit beter gelyk het.
En die diskant is die OP-kaptein Frans Erasmus. Hy druk teen Johan Leroux, die vaskopstit van Transvaal. En dis 'n vaskopbal wat gewen word deur die OP. En Elandre van der Berg wat die bal daarso aangee. Martin Knutze wat daar huiwer om onder die bal in te kom. En dit kan gevaar voorspel vir die Transvaalers, maar ek krimp tog. Graafruit wat daar geskop het, Kabous van der Westhuizen wat vir Transvaal Langenberg beet kry. En Transvaal boer in die halfgebied van die OP in hierdie eerste klompie minute van die wedstryd. Die telling 3-0 na daardie strafdoel van Cameron Oliver. En ons kyk of hierdie lyn staan 'n bietjie beter gaan verloop op daai.
A very classic example. I mean, that would have been blown up in every country in the world except South Africa, I think.
Except South Africa. The fellow, the ball taker, must have been about 9'6" tall there when he took the ball.
But as you'll see, it actually works well. Both sides do it. The end result, it didn't happen that time, but the end result is much better catching, much better line-out ball.
Well, how many infringements are there in the line of something like 114 altogether, which is a ridiculous state of affairs?
Exactly. This is real EP stuff now. Surging forward. That'll be a try, no? Typical EP rugby there. Gets the ball in behind the Transvaal pack. Chase, harry, and really a good chance, two good chances of tries. Transvaal offside, I think. And I imagine EP will take a shot at goal. Both sides a bit jittery at the moment.
They are very much a great deal of fumbling. Possibly it's a little bit early in the day for them. A midday kickoff, as it were, not quite used to it. And both sides really struggling now to get some kind of cohesion into their play.
And a cardinal sin by Transvaal. Of course, when you're playing against a side like Eastern Province, you've got to sew up the ball when you're going backwards. Transvaal didn't and might pay the penalty. Gary Parker-Nance, an interesting player as a fly-half. He's got absolutely everything. A lovely footballer, good brain, and yet somehow, when he's come to top level, has never actually come through. He played for the Gazelles, the South African under 25 side a couple of years ago. It hasn't quite come through. First pulled a little bit left.
Transvaal de doordruk. Telling bly onveranderd. Weer ver en diep deur Cameron Oliver. Hy sien daar die gaping, daar die bal wat rol, maar nie veld uit nie, veld in. Die oorkant Distrof wat hom gee vir sy heel agter Transvaal Langenberg. En 'n mooi skopie deur hom van binne sy kwartgebied af.
Ja, ek moet sê Frans Langenberg, dit is vir die eerste 3 skoppe wat hy kantlyn toe geskop het, almal baie duidelik seker uit en dit is wat 'n mens wil hê vroeg in die wedstryd. Mense wil hê die wedstryd moet onnodig losraak vanweë 'n skop wat nie uitgaan.
Hierdie keer is dit Adrie Geldnys wat daar oortap na die OP kant toe, maar die bal is weer uit oor die kantlyn en Transvaal wen so 'n meter of 2 veld. Broodwa Oberholzer.
En het ons hom nie vandag 'n klomp name hierso by mekaar nie. Barabbas, Venter, Kabous, van de Westhuizen, Boesman de twee, Chaka Willemse.
Ja, nee. En dan kom hy uit na Albertoon, maar weer 'n keer blaas die fluitjie. Moet sê tot dusver kon die wedstryd nog nie behoorlik aan die gang kom.
Ja, ek moet sê die spelers het tot dusver nog nie die heel eerste basiese dinge mooi stil en korrek gedoen nie. En as gevolg daarvan sit hulle druk op die mense wat die bal dra en meer takties sal mense wil hê dat die spel nou 'n bietjie stadiger moet gaan en dat die basiese dinge baie meer korrek doen. Michael du Plessis wat die skop daar gaan waarneem.
Hy gee tog die bal sy heel agter Frans van Langenberg. En dis 'n goeie skop deur hom. En vir die eerste keer is die OP sterk op die aanval. Behalwe daardie keer toe Michael du Plessis so byna oor is. Daar aan die oorkant sal dit weer Broodwel overal sal wees met hierdie bal met ingooi te Transvaal. Is dit belangrik dat Kobus Wiese op nommer 2 hierdie ene skoon raakpad en dadelik uitvoer na sy agterlyn toe. As die Landry van die Berg wat hom tog in die hande kry en die manne vorme losgemaal. Die OP wat wil oorgaan met Transvaal en dan kom hy uit. En dit is Craig Richardson, gaan hy oor die doellyn? Nee, nog nie. Hulle is op die doellyn van Transvaal, blyk die blaas en hulle is op 'n vaste skramvol.
Daar kon die mense sien Frans Erasmus het omtrent gebid in 'n skramskakelposisie dat daardie bal moes uitkom. Kyk ons daar na besit, sal die mense sien vroeër soos wat Jan gesê het, Transvaal wat met 53% besit op die
Wall there.
Absolutely.
No man passes.
The Transvaal percentage-wise territorial advantage. Game so far, they do have the advantage, but a good position for EP here. Interesting to see if they move it open.
And space on the short side as well.
No, they're going to try and a bullock. Referee probably doesn't know what to do. You'll
I
notice
think he blew up there because the scrum had...
yeah, it's gone beyond the 90
around.
degrees, yeah, 180 degrees. The scrum halves do a lot more defensive work here. If they move it this side, you'll see Garth Wright will take the fly half. That is his man. Difficult one for the ref.
Would be a referee in this
What?
situation.
I think he's given, no, what has he done? He's given a penalty. And that sounded like someone might have said something. Or done something afterwards. Might see a short penalty here. No, looks like they're going to kick it. They've got Frans Erasmus, this little juggernaut Springbok prop. He's very, very mobile, surprisingly mobile, loose head prop, and they often use a move, a sort of secondary move where he ends up doing a second drive, and he scored a lot of tries that way. But they're going for the kick at goal. That might be to steady Gary Parker Nanstan, give him another shot. Stadium filling up quite nicely now, Martin. It really has got a great atmosphere.
Yes, indeed.
Weer nie 'n moeilike skop vir Gary Parker Nance nie. En die vlaggies is omhoog en die telling is 3-11.
En die opiespan wat daar in daai 3-4 minute wat hulle daar gekamp het op die doellyn van Transvaal baie goeie druk uitgeoefen het, baie gedissiplineerd die vaste los aangepak het. As gevolg daarvan het hulle daardie strafskop afgekoop.
Possession hasn't been coming so far.
Yep. Difference being that EP obviously will float them because they've got good driving. They want to get in amongst the Transvaal players. Unlikely to kick a long one off. Here's Frans Erasmus. It's a typical bullocking run. Well played, made it available extremely well.
Not really, though, arriving there in numbers to consolidate it. Erasmus's drive there, and they needed another 2 or 3 just to set it up.
That's right. again. Suicide ball for Garth Wright. And very strange, of course, I suppose Murphy's Law. As soon as I tell you that the lineouts will be very key, we haven't seen a decent lineout all day. It's been tapping and scrapping around. But I suppose that's...
Dit is Cooper's Wiese.
Big man and very mobile. That's better. That's better. Well held, Caboose van der Westhuizen. Whoops. I'm going to tell you what that was for. Someone had a late smack.
He's driving over the top. Interesting that Westhuizen, the winger at that time, called for the ball because Nertzer, the fullback, has been a little bit hesitant under the high ball so far. Taking a look, as you well know, John, at the feet all around him, or hearing the feet all around him, and then the knobbly knees start going.
Yeah. Very good player, Martin. Very tidy footballer. Caboose van der Westhuizen actually never really seen him under a high ball before, but he took it extremely well. Certainly lots of guts. He's a young player, has got quite a cavalier approach to the game, playing for the university. Even against Northern from deep, he tried to take people on. It didn't come off on that occasion when they played before, but certainly had a go, and that's nice to see. Good kick, 6-3.
It's superbly struck. He's very quick to be involved throughout the afternoon. He won the pass with the afternoon, so official photograph. And he was very impressed by the percentage of accuracy of the kicking. Even from the halfway line, they were just popping them over. Rather depressing, of course, for some, especially if you're on the opposition side.
Absolutely. The standard of play kicking is very high, and they've learned, as England finally did, that you just can't go into a top-class rugby without a good place kicker. Good kick for the scrum half. That's a good ball. Richardson. A nondescript sort of play. A first touch of the ball really for Peter Hendricks. Their poor kick didn't find the length.
Hier 'n vaste scrum op die middelkol.
Al wat hierdie wedstrijd nou nodig het, Jan, is dat die bal een beetje wyd beweeg word, uit naar die vleels toe, dat hulle oor die voorlijn kom en dat die ritme terugkom waar hulle terugspeel. Maar op die oomblik baie taktische foute, soos daar die ene deur Fransjo Langeberg, en as gevolg daarvan is daar geen ritme of vloei in die spel nie. En ons hoop maar dat dit nou net gaan verbeter.
43, 61, 43, 61, 36.
Voor die lijn staan vir die OP staan Adrie Geldnuis met die swart sweetband daar om die voorkop. Baie goed gevat weer deur Cooper's Wiese. Maar weer 'n keer is dit Barbas Venter wat daar betrap word met die bal. En dan kom hy uit. Cameron Oliver. En is 'n hoë een. Hierdie keer toets hulle vir François Langenberg. Hulle Broncos is heel voor in daardie stormloop. Kom hy uit na die OP toe. Craig Richardson kry hom. Hy word daar in die hande gekry deur Pieter de Haas. En dan kom hy weer uit na Transvaal kant toe. Dit is beter. Dit lyk baie beter. Barbas Venter en Cameron Oliver wat die hele OP-verdediging ook kan betrap. En oorval vir 'n 3, die eerste 3 van die wedstrijd. Dit was 'n pragtige pop aangee na Caboose van der Westhuizen toe. Hy pluk die bal terug. Die hele verdediging van die OP is met verkeerde voet. En hy is deur op sy eentjie vir nog punte vir Transvaal. En dit lyk beter.
Ja nee, Jan, en hier sien ons, jy weet, hoe die bal uitkom, 'n redelike goeie aangee wat Barbas Venter ook daar uitgee. En dan hier sien ons vir Cameron Oliver, en kyk hierdie fop aangee. Ek dink iemand in die tweede ry in die hoofpaviljoen het dit raak gevat. En daar gaan hy oor. Die hele OP verdediging het reg oorbeweeg en glad nie, jy weet, vir Cameron dopgehou op sy binnevoet nie. Ons sien weer Garthright goeie aangee, Barbas Venter uit daar na Philip Broncos goeie aangee. En kyk hoe kom hy reg oor verby al daar die verdedigers van die OP. En ons is baie bly om te kan sê dat daar 3 is in hierdie wedstrijd. Intussen het Cameron Oliver dit ook verdoel en die telling is nou 9-6 vir Transvaal.
Ja, miskien is dit net die volk wat nodig was om hierdie wedstrijd in die brand te steek. En 'n mens sou graag wil sien dat die OP weer gebruik maak van die agterlyn, want hulle het 'n goeie agterlyn. As 'n mens dink aan Michael Du Plessis op senter saam met Rian Potgieter, die oud Noord-Vrystater, van wie daar baie verwag word in die toekoms. En ook Jacques Du Plessis en André Dusterhoff wat graag daar die bal sou wil hê. Hierdie ene wat lekker hand. Hier is dit Armand de Pre wat voor in die stormloop is, maar dit is Garth Wright. Baie goed beoordeel daai skop. Langenberg. Cameron Oliver. En dan naar die oorkant toe. En ja, vir Dusterhoft. Naar die hoekvlag toe. En dan is die bal toch uit. Gooi haastig in. Sy losskakel Gary Parker-Nance. Maar die skeieregter en die grensregter bly daar staan met die vlaggie omhoog en hulle sal 'n ordentlike lynstand moet vorm.
Skitterende oordeel daar deur Cameron Oliver. Hy het die bal gekry en waar persoon sou verwag het dat hy direk teruggaan het en sy 22 en uitgeskop het geskop na die oorkant toe. Goeie lynstaan en hier is Transvaal baie sterk op die aanval.
Dis die agterlyn en Philip Bronckhorst wat daar probeer deurkom, maar die verdediging van die OP is stewig. Op die doellyn feitelik, maar as die bal onder die konvoorspelers verdwyn, 'n vaste skrum.
Try has given them. Nothing on the outside, rather slow ball, set it up in midfield. Now very dangerous scrum. Might use a back row move here, move that come from the All Blacks, so the number 8 will feed the scrum half on the left-hand side. Yep, there it goes. Go on. Well played, great recovery.
Great defence, John, by Eastern Province. The try line was there, the begging, as you say, but in fairness to them, they got to the ball, got to the loose ball and the fly kick, and but all of a sudden I still think they must feel that they're on the defensive.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the problems with the rugby here is the sides play each other so often that move, EP, as I was able to predict it, probably knew exactly what Garth was likely to do. Good clearance. Good take. That's a nice change of tactics by Garth, right? Whoops. Bad mistake by the winger. The ball had dropped into the 22. That was one to mark and clear. Transvaal now good attacking scrum. But nice change of tactics by Garth, right? You know, he'd been feeding very nicely, feeding his backs, feeding Cameron Oliver. Changed in behind, and the forwards will like that. Give them a target. Oops. This is one. Oops, wrong way. That was one to come this way. Nice to reverse pass. So recovered.
Amazing, isn't it, that these teams, as right across the world, with practice and practice, and everything looks absolutely perfect with no opposition whatsoever. Put them under pressure, and the passes go astray.
Yep, bit of butterfingers there, all right. But good recovery, nice little reverse pass from Garth Wright. And that's what a combination is all about, and those two certainly very good half-back combinations. Nice tidy again by Garth Wright. That's good second phase. This is where Transvaal wanted quickly, and it's come. Oops. Well played. Nice play, Transvaal. I think I saw you putting your finger up there. Thumbs up when he switched direction.
Excellent play. Showing some vision, showing the opportunity. I was very impressed by Ian McDonald, the number 7. He knew exactly where the movement was going to go. He stayed in his position. He knew where the scrum half was coming, and now they've got a good attacking position.
Might well bring a big man in here. Yep, nice play, and this is where they need support. Good stuff. Transvaal very much in the ascendancy at the moment. As you probably gathered, defense from set play is usually very, very tight. So like the All Blacks, they'll use a variation like that to either punch through or to set something up to spin it wide.
Very interesting attacking combination, that reminiscent of American football more than rugby, with two men coming in from the blind side. Right,
one on the decoy.
In motion, as they say.
Exactly. Good defensive play. That's where you've got to have a reasonably solid scrum. You've got to get the kick to touch.
It must be said, John, that when Transvaal have spun the ball or called in the options or changed direction, they looked at their most dangerous.
Yep. But it always looks that way from up here. Down there, it's never sometimes. You know, it's often not quite as obvious.
Too true.
What Transvaal really need, of course, is another score to set them on their way. Give them a reward for this enterprise. A couple of penalties given away by him. He's a tough customer. Looks it as well, doesn't he? Been around for quite a long time.
It must be heartbreaking for Eastern Province. Some stout defensive work from them, just to concede a little silly
penalty,
offside in discipline penalty like this, and probably me.
Voor is omdat sy vaste 5 voorspelers tot dusver nog nie hulle stempel op hierdie wedstryd kon afdruk nie.
Ja, hy draai om, hy weet hy's tussen die bakke deur.
I know I shouldn't have come.
But again, it really is, you know, a goal kicker like that. Once you're putting pressure on, often it doesn't result in tries, but it will, if the pressure is kept up, result in penalties. I mean, that's what pressure rugby is all about, and you've got to have someone who can convert them into points.
Important now, though, for Eastern Province not to let their heads down, having just a goal behind, needing to get up into Transvaal territory and start probing some gaps.
Yep. And of course, this is where Transvaal will want to clear their ranks. And how often do we say it that straight after scoring, a side gives away a silly point, and they've done it. Cameron will find touch now. Lovely kick. Well played. A good play again by Transvaal. EP would be storming into them. Transvaal took it clearly, back to the fly half, and he found his touch. Immediately now, the situation is nullified. It's back to where we were.
And it certainly seems that Transvaal in the ascendancy, being able to give the outside half that little extra half second, little half yard, just to place his kick.
Yeah, and it was a super pass by Garth Wright. That will be interesting to see. Michael Duplessis again coming in to talk. You can see him 13. Looks like he's going to go over touch. Often they'll use a tactic of just sticking it up in the air, Pontypool style. Well done, that's what the forwards want.
Net buiten die kwartgebied.
Well played Kubus Visa, the dummy going forward. But again, Scrappy, well cleared Garth Wright. Good stuff. I don't know if you noticed in that line out, but a little bit of a late tackle. What the big man did, he dummied going forward, took his marker with, and then took the lob ball going backwards. But again, as we said it before, the final delivery to the scrum half was scrappy. And against Eastern Province, that's not what a scrum half wants.
What the lifting does do, John, although it would be penalised, as we've discussed before, by a Northern Hemisphere referee or against Northern Hemisphere opposition, but it does place great emphasis on the thrower in.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be spot on. You're dead right, yeah. Oh, nice brace. Well played. But pass was a little bit scrappy. But nice to see fly halves having a go, you know. There's very few fly halves in world rugby now prepared to have a go at their men. We've seen it a couple of times today.
Yes, I suppose the role of the outside half, the fly half, has changed dramatically over the years. He now becomes the sort of the playmaker behind rather than the incisive runner.
Yep. Cameron Oliver really having a superb game. He hasn't put a foot wrong. Scored the try, kicked the goals, and cleared his lines terrifically. Nice to see. Actually took a lot of stick because he got injured in a friendly soccer match before the club championships here. Had one off day and there was a lot of criticism for it, but he's obviously bounced back. Nice to see. Now that is amazing. That's quite the worst throw I think I've ever seen in rugby. He nearly threw it to the Transvaal fly half. But there was a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of messing, and they got the penalty, but the hooker would have been glad to get away with that, I can tell you.
That line-out had all the trappings of a Northern Hemisphere line-out, charging all over the place and leading to no possession whatsoever.
That's right. I don't know if the World Rugby has ever really entertained the idea of legalizing lifting. I mean, it's something that, you know... Nice again. very passionate. So, yeah. You know, they always seem to just dismiss it and say, no, that's not what rugby is all about, without really looking at what is the positive contribution. And that's... Good driving. To go back to Cameron. The EP not really trying to wheel or put pressure on the scrums. Early on they were doing it. That might indicate a little bit of lack of fitness at this stage. Now the super bit of play by Oliver. Whoops. Whoops.
Oh, really indecisive play, but again emphasizing Cameron Oliver's foresighting, cutting across field there. Interesting to see the way that he kicked the ball, just sloping it down onto his foot and then getting that spiral. Yeah. And that one traveling vast distances.
Indeed, and of course, no altitude to account for it either. I mean, we're at sea level here. He gave it a magnificent smack. It should be Transvaal's ball. The Linka is there now. Oops. First mistake, not really deep enough. I'll take fullback. Oops. Get early season here, of course. You know, maybe we're looking for a little bit too much. Early season, the players haven't got really into that groove yet. Probably spent a lot of time working on fitness rather than on polishing up the handling skills. And this is probably the best scrum Transvaal, the best attacking scrum they've had in the game. All right, good chip. Good chip, you know, nothing really on there. Centre took the decision to chip himself. Peter de Haas, a very good player, as I say. It's a nice blend in the centre. They've got Peter de Haas, who's a very good footballer, and Philip Bronckhorst, who's the big battering ram.
Indeed, the right tactical option there. Again, more pressure on Eastern Province, and now having to face a line-up right on their own try line.
Yep. Ah, well cleared, scrum half. Well done. Of course, starting the game at this time, we don't have problems with shadows on the field. As you can see, often later on we'll get the shadow of the grandstand coming across, but it means we're getting a smashing picture. Yeah, you can see that was crooked here. Of course, Transvaal, Yanni Briet, the Springbok captain's Transvaal. He's playing over in Italy. Very, very dominant man at the tail of the line-out. And it'll be interesting to see if they bring him straight back in when he comes back. I think they should. Well, what impressions so far, Mark?
Well, just looking at that phase of play there, what we have seen is two solid scrummaging sides. Both on their own put-ins have kept their scrums very solid indeed. A little bit of higgledy-piggledy at the beginning, sort of cold hands. I can't understand cold hands at this heat. And no real pattern to the game. But we have seen some excellent skills from Cameron Oliver at outside half. We've seen some good support play in the back row, albeit full of mistakes as well, it must be said. But it really needs a dominant character, this game. It really needs one of the sides to settle down.
Grab it by the scruff of the neck, yeah. Interesting, again, Murphy's Law, just having commented on scrummaging, that Transvaal really put pressure on that Eastern Province scrum. The first time we saw a scrum really under pressure. Good tackle by Oosthuizen. Well, good play by the winger there, Kobos van der Westhuizen. Made a good run, beat a man, and then managed to keep the ball alive. And I think that's the sort of pattern Transvaal have got to look for this year, because the pack is not going to be as dominant as in recent years.
I think those fellows are beginning to feel that heat.
We're beginning to feel it from up here. Yeah. Now again, you see Transvaal having put pressure on for the first time. They're anxious to get in amongst them again. EP trying to slow it down a little bit. Let's see if they can repeat it. Nice wheel, well cleared. He's missed touch. Interesting to see if Van der Westhuizen will run at it. Now there is something on here. That's good play, Transvaal. This guy's quick. Look at the centre getting in as well and helping him. Again, silly mistake, but a little bit of enterprise for Transvaal there.
Yes, let's compliment Westhuizen for his imagination in that long pass. Especially we've seen so many passes go astray in this game so far that he's still has the confidence to sling it in the midfield.
Yeah, nice to see. And again, Martin Knutze didn't think of kicking. He saw it and actually did work an overlap, which was nice. Actually, good defence by the Eastern Province winger. Francois Langenberg, good kick. Don't know him too well. Haven't really seen him do too much in this game so far. Good take. Well played. Super clearance, Transvaal. Of course, that's a situation where the scrum half, if he can...
Die type sy van die spel weer eens aan die orde van die dag hierso. En mense sweer Jan dat hier vandag 2 Karibiese punte op die spel was, soos hierdie 2 spanne te kere gaan.
Absoluut.
Yeah, let's look at this line out now. Now this is EP rugby. No, that's EP. Good play by the referee there. He had his hand blown up, allowed the advantage to go for Transvaal. I'll be glad with that. But nice driving by Eastern. A little bit worrying that the man was able to get away so easily. I think the Transvaal back row there a little bit asleep.
I think Eastern Province also will be a little bit disappointed at having had that excellent peel and that drive over the advantage line. They should have gained the ball and at the right moment losing it.
Yeah, that was one they wanted. Over the top. It was a difficult one, that. I mean, the forwards are driving for the ball and suddenly there's nothing to drive against. They've really got to go down. But having said that, the All Blacks managed to get that front foot over the ball, don't they, and stay on their feet. It's really the difference. He's going to try and stick it down into the corner. Again, I was surprised. EP, I thought, might have just put a couple up with snow on it. Still, down into the 22. For all that, of course, Transvaal only 12-6 ahead, you know. We're talking about them as though they've gone away with it. The game's still very much anybody's game.
I think that's why they went for that kicking option, just to get down into those inviting quarters inside the 22,
yep.
Just on the 22-metre line.
So tidied. Oh, well done. Oops. Yeah, not forward, good tackling. That was a beautiful pass. Now again, that was Michael du Plessis. The same guy who took the inside ball earlier, the long, long pass.
That kind of pass had to be inch perfect.
Otherwise, we'd have seen there the Transvaal winger going the length of the field. Super tackle. Here we are. Now here's Michael du Plessis. Long, long pass, effortless, using the wrists and fingers.
Fullback notes at Langenberg taking it well.
He did.
Look at the terror in the eyes. They're just going for that line.
What a good tackle by
Excellent
Bronkhorst.
tackle.
Yeah, indeed. By Peter de Haas and Martin Knutze. Good defense, good play. He's taken a bit of a knock there. I think that's the first injury he's had, you know. The game being so robust here, there tend to be quite a few stoppages, but he looks like he's taken a bad knock. Here's the other angle.
Superbly timed.
It was. I think Cabos van der Westhuizen thought of the intercept and then discovered he was in no man's land.
But then the vital tackle coming in. I mean,
Yeah, very good, solid tackle.
many people seem to think that the tackler has the advantage, but the ball carrier always has the advantage because there's so many options open to the ball carrier. The fullback doing exceptionally well then to smother that movement.
Yeah. So nice movement, but the game hasn't really caught on. Must say a little bit disappointing, but a couple of nice little touches I think give you an appetite wetter really for later on.
Watching that pass again, the example to all schoolboys watching. The enterprise is there, the confidence there, you've got to have that. And then the forward running movement of Francois Langenberg coming onto the ball. But then, again, copybook tackling boy, I need this schoolboy just to match that.
Certainly was, and unfortunately the fullback, Francois Langevoort, has gone off the field. He's still getting treatment. Okay, good clearance. Again, the message there, just get the kick in and find touch. Quite interesting that EP have not brought on a replacement yet and haven't moved a man out of the pack. Yeah, offside in midfield, and that's an easy 3 point for Eastern Province. So take the 3 points.
To see Transvaal then bringing in Westhuizen between the outside half and the centre just to block it with that they're having so many personnel there stop the drive from Eastern Province rather than man-to-man marking.
Yep. Well, again, that's hit it too well.
En de Spartans wat nog 3 punten aantekent voor die OP.
And the blindside winger will stand at fly half, just in a defensive row. Standard defensive tactics. It only goes wrong, of course, if the scrum half has to give the ball to the winger under fierce pressure, then often he can't clear. But it does make a lot of sense. Michael Duplessis having a chat to fullback. Back on the field, Doggenberg. Looks like he's okay. Maybe slightly chastened.
Slightly chastened, not wanting any long propelling passes for the next 5 minutes or so.
There we are, slight change, getting his forwards back into it again. Oh, a nice big kick. It's a bit aimless, he's putting his forwards under pressure there. Slipper might well run from here. Nope. And there we go, half time. 12 points to 9.
En als de rusttijd aanbreekt is Trans.
It'll get going a little bit more, get a bit more alive later on, Martin.
Well, yes, indeed. Rather disappointing, actually, with the first half. Good skills displayed by certain individuals, but that's what we've seen so far. There's been the contribution of individuals rather than, let's say, the united team efforts with no basic platform established by either side. Transvaal using the bulk of their forwards to go up. There's a little bit of misunderstanding between the back row and the scrum half. Eastern Province being able to snuff out those moves. So basically a stalemate sort of game so far.
Prediction?
Well, it certainly looks for the runner play that Transvaal might have the edge. They look more capable of setting up a platform than Eastern Province. Now Washington proved me wrong.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's happened a few times, hasn't it? Because what EP will be trying to do is break up the Transvaal. And I imagine Franz Arabic and Michael Duplessis will be saying, get the ball in behind them. Transvaal are a little bit jittery. We want to unnerve them. But the physical commitment's still quite good, eh?
Physical commitment of some of the big boys in this league. It's all very well and easy for us to sit and go in an air-conditioned commentary, but down there, the real key to the cauldron, testing time and early in the season, those couple of extra times they haven't lost during the close season may tell in the last 20 minutes.
The crowd, I think, enjoying it. As I say, getting quite big. Maybe a little bit disappointed. I mean, these are two of the top provinces. It's probably about 30,000 people here at the moment. The main grandstand quite full. But I think they'll be hoping for nearly a full house certainly for the Natal game later on. I want a cracking program we've got. Of course, the pipe opener, Transvaal against EP. The score at the moment, if you've just joined us, 12-9 to Transvaal. After a rather nondescript first half, we've got following it all live on Mnet, sponsored by First National Bank, Northerns against Free State. And that really will be a good game. Because Free State, of course, have got that fast back line against the Northerns pack and the Northerns machine. Then the big one, of course, Natal against Western Province. And certainly Natal, they've used the checkbook, as we say, in inverted commas. They've brought in some good players, and I think they'll be fancying their chances against Western Province. So 12-9 at the moment to Transvaal. They're not praying. Does this happen overseas? The teams sort of sticking together in a huddle like this, arms around each other, very motivational?
Well, yes, indeed, especially on the continent of Europe. It was meant to have been banned at one stage, especially during national anthems. But all of a sudden, the French being, well, somewhat chauvinistic and not wanting to actually comply with IRB regulations, immediately going into a huddle. I noticed, too, that some of the other sides, the Spanish sides as well, they like this kind of huddle because they emulate the soccer players. And I don't know whether they get the adrenaline going with the tugging of the jersey just before a game, just to get that little bit of extra spice in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it works for some teams, but others, well, other teams possibly more disciplined or more adhering to the establishment laws, as it were, standing up straight and stiff upper lip and all that.
Staying away from, I suppose, the Northern Hemisphere keeps you warm a little bit as well, doesn't it? Referee done well. He's tried to let it flow, but a difficult game to referee, really.
Difficult game to referee because of the untidy nature of it. However, we will have to spend a few beers, John, and discuss and probably. But it must be said, it's outside the law.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. As I say, we don't get the referees, overseas referees, to do the Currie Cup games. But when we have an international series, and it was very.
Kijkers na Mnet Supersport herinner daaraan dat speler van die dag
Really being not too effective. Last year, we had Adolf Milan, who you'll see later playing for Northerns, who's unbeatable here, was taken apart by Bob Norster, absolutely taken apart in the second test. The stadium? What do you think of the stadium?
Well, by the standards of, let's say, the stadium that I'm more accustomed to, Llanelli, Pontypool, Cross Keys on a wet Wednesday night, this is absolutely superb, and full credit to Natal for developing this at great cost, and also the fact that they've been able to get these sponsors in, and also the sponsored seats either to the left and to the right of this composition.
Okay, well, so while we're talking, the game obviously going, looking for a quick kick out. The drop kicks you'll find, this is a typical South African drop kick, much longer possibly than you'll see there, and gives the forward a chance to really get away from the 22 area. That's straight out of a Cavaliers notebook. If there's nothing on, just welly it down the field. But again, as I said, the drop kick, the kickers tend to move much further across the field. As you can see, Cameron Oliver's nearly over to the far touchline and hang a long, long kick. There you are. Look at the advantage it gives its side. So the contact is now made around the 10-meter mark, or sometimes even as far as when Nars Botha does it, almost at the halfway line.
Yes, the point is well taken, John. A dropout of perfection that time, just in the right place, ready for the forwards who are cantering down there approximately 23 miles per hour, being able to take advantage of the ball being just in front of them.
Yeah. Now here, of course, is the big joke about a rugby now. As you've said, every line-out has exhibited lifting, and then suddenly the referee blows one. You know, now that really does seem to be a little bit inconsistent, doesn't it?
Well, as all rugby players know, much to the abhorrence of referees, that the criticism leveled at referees for inconsistency, sometimes justified, sometimes not so justified.
I think you're in the diplomatic corps, are you? Here's the slow-mo. Here we go, look, up there, you can see him lifting, front and back. But again, is that anything different to what's been happening so far?
An interesting penalty this, because it'll bring Eastern Province back on level terms, and who knows, they might be able to get that adrenaline going and turn this game around.
Yeah, it's a long one for Parkanon. Doesn't kick the ball quite as far as some of the other kickers. Oliver also missed it. Oh, there you are. What's going for you? That's very rare to see Cameron miss cue like that. Abdi Keldena's had a quiet game. He's a lock forward at the front, second in for Eastern Province. He should have played for the Springboks last year, many feel. Very much a driving type of forward rather than one of the big giants we have here. Quite a quiet game today. Forwards won't be happy. I bet you'll see one of them having a word with them now. But interesting, as a young player had the cockiness to win a ball and have a little chip himself.
think the right tactic is a little bit unlucky not to get the ball just inside the field play. But the right tactic just to take his forwards back up into Transvaal territory. Although the forwards, as you say, probably had a few fights there.
They are good overalls. Just before he walked to the pitch, his hands on his head and his head bowed. And he knows that's the biggest problem Transvaal have. It's not in hooking, not in loose play, but in getting that ball into the line out. He got his place because the previous guy could not throw the ball in satisfactorily enough, so he'll be annoyed at that. Interesting now to see if Richardson has another little snipe or a little chip around the short side. He won't now because the scrum has been wheeled. Better driving by EP. Really wasting.
I mentioned some inconsistency earlier, because certainly that scrum should have been blown up because it had gone beyond the 90 degrees. Previously in the first half, the referee did penalise the offending side, but not that time, allowed the advantage to take place. And after all, scrum is a means of starting the game again.
Or should be. That's good ball for EP. He's done it again. He's determined to get it right, isn't he? Wasted tries. One thing about Michael Duplessis, one of his great strengths is that will not annoy him in the slightest. You look at him, he won't apologize, his head won't go down at all. He'll try it again, it just doesn't put him off. It's a strength, but I think it'll possibly annoy his backline.
I think it'll annoy his 14 compatriots out there as well, because that's the third attempted box kick down to the corner there that hasn't worked.
Yeah, one feels if he'd lost it at high and given him a target, it might have worked better. The winner was really exceptional. It wasn't an overlap, somehow gave him the flash. The impression Transvaal have slackened off a little bit, but EP can't take control of it. Possibly a golden opportunity to really put some more points on the board. Interesting left-footed. That was a situation where he turned quickly to use his left foot, and possibly indicates a little bit of a weakness with his right foot.
The other noticeable factor is after Cameron Oliver kicked that downfield, he immediately went to touch, knowing full well that he hadn't actually placed or correctly placed that kick for an attacking and inviting possibility.
Good trying, but EP had it. Yeah, well, no. That's not mentioned now. That won't be please Gary Parker now. But again, EP moving in, winning ball, looking to move it either side. Transvaal moving the ball again, using the big man Philip Bronckhorst. Now, what won't please them is the fact he made the contact well, but then didn't keep the ball available. The All Blacks, of course, experts at bringing a big man in and then keeping the movement going. I think that's probably offside. Offside by the Transvaal backline. We had a very good view of that here, as did the cameras. Calling up the full back. I think he's possibly going to have a shot. Yeah.
Should he get it over, Eastern Province deserving of 3 points. The amount of ball that they're winning in the loose at the moment, and quite impressed by Greg Richardson, the scrum half. Nice little pass, not too fussy about it at all, and being able to find his man accurately. But the standard of kicking, unfortunately, has let Eastern Province down.
It certainly has. One of the things you'll notice is the scrum half here. There's no thought of a left or a right hand here. They ping them out with either side. Standard of pass to high. That's a kick. Oh, there you go. I think it is quite right. Funny sort of corrected, but it's over. 12 all.
So that might gender up the spirits in the Eastern Province camp. The score coming after 8 minutes in his first quarter. So it's basically up to Transvaal now to regroup their forces, as we saw in the first half. Slightly the more boisterous and more aggressive of the two sides.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wise. Get it down there. Again, you see Parker Nant's confidence maybe gone a little bit. He's missed a few kicks. He's had a couple of bad kicks to touch and so on. There was plenty of time where he maybe could have made up 10 yards and put a long spiraling kick in. Didn't take the opportunity. I think his confidence is still not quite where it should be. As I say, a little bit disappointed because he really is a fine player. That was the old Peter Brand tactic there of heading the kickoff. Do you remember? It is, in fact, in the laws, a forward can head it, a player can head the ball.
And the Bruni of Troon is to show his expertise with the headed ball as well.
That's right. Yeah. From the kickoff, Peter Brand used to head it forward and then chase it. Scrappy ball. Garth got a little bit of a scragging. Of course, Garth Wright played for a long time for Eastern Province, so some of his ex-teammates wouldn't mind getting a hang of it. Good linking, well played. Just got quick. Well played, Transvaal. Not bad at all. Two long missed passes in the middle, and of course using the pace of the winger to get round on the outside. Let's have a go. Let's see him have a go. Hey, has it well. Well played. Puts hands in, I think. He's going over the ball. Well played by the winger, eh? I was afraid he was going to do half and half, but he got his ears back and went through and found the gap.
He nearly got there. Just for the pull of a jersey, he might have got 4 points. And saw more inventiveness in that move from Transvaal than we've seen in the entire second half, really, from either side.
Yeah.
A little bit of options, creating space. Excellent to watch and very pleasant for the crowd.
Yep, indeed. And again, as we talk, pressure often doesn't bring a try, but will presumably, will often result in a penalty. And with someone like Cameron Oliver, one would expect him to get it. Although a difficult kick, 10-meter mark to the right-hand side of the post. You'd expect to get it there.
The way he just got his run back.
Told you.
Almost as soon as the ball
Commentator's dream.
ball made contact with the boot, he was on his way back from half the line. Those 3 points were there.
Interesting analysing his style. I mean, obviously round the corner, but he really does hit it so cleanly. He stumps it. He hits everything really clean and really hard.
The other noticeable thing that both kickers from Eastern Province and Transvaal don't take a great deal of time on their kicks as compared to some international kickers. Some you can time 2.5 minutes.
That's right. I think Paul Corbin takes a long time, doesn't he? Staring and head down and head up and head down.
He's grown weary by looking at the base of the ball.
That's a good take. Jacques Duplessis, an exciting runner. Whoops. Transvaal will be pleased. One is their receiving of kickoffs. They've done quite well. Again, looking forward into the Currie Cup. In those big games, people will hang a ball up. Transvaal have caught them well. That time Oliver didn't find touch, but they've caught and cleared their lines quite well. I'm sure that's one thing they'll be pleased about. The EP percentage of the second. EP have had 75% of the ball in the second half. 84% of the territorial advantage. They find themselves still 16-12 down.
You say about the old cliche, a game of 2 halves. Certainly EP showing what they didn't show us in the first half, a little bit more aggression, a little bit more drive, and just paying dividends.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the first half was even and the second half was even worse. But, not quite at that stage. This is interesting. Now, that's a good little chip. Well played, Cameron Oliver. And still going. What What a great score. Well played.
Oh,
Wasn't it
excellent work.
magnificent?
Excellent work. And really created out of nothing really, just a good attacking kick, first of all, right down midfield, and having the pace to get there. That's the vital thing when the ball comes loose.
But how about loose-head prop Barabas Fenter being there to score the try? That's fitness.
What was he doing there?
Here we are. Look at this. Good play by Oliver. Barabas Fenter picked it up and no one was going to stop him. But Oliver dummied the kick deep in his own half. Instead of then just the aimless kick up the field, he dropped it into space, was there to kick and chase. Excellent stuff. A really good try. He can do nothing wrong today, can he?
Not so far. He's played tactically a shrewd game, but that, all right, it deserves a little bit of the luck of the bounce, but
Yeah.
he was there in order to create the pressure, in order for the ball to be made available.
Well done. 21-12. But again, memories of Graham Price playing at Parc des Princes many, many years ago.
That's right, and at Parc des Princes on his debut, chasing the ball all the way, and nobody knew why he was there. Neither did he at the end of the game.
And ended up scoring the try, 75 metres. Well, Barabas Fenter must have chased about that distance. Good name for a prop forward, Barabas Fenter, isn't it? Again, well done, Transvaal. Vital phase there. Obviously, EP will come steaming in. They've just given away a score. Now what happened? They have a line-out back inside their own half.
Excellent discipline by Transvaal.
See, Cameron's got a bit of a knock. It looks, sorry, Martin, it looks a lot more like grazed grass burn or something. Only when you're playing well and winning, you don't feel the knocks as much as the other way around.
You've right been growing when you're about 20 points down.
Clear. That time, the Transvaal loose forward, Judex Burnett, the man steaming through. Today, fast number 8. Of course, he's in a bit of a difficult situation because he's playing number 8, playing well for Transvaal, but he has the spectre of Yanni Briet over his shoulder when he returns from Italy. Michael Duplessis, very much available for physical contact when it's necessary.
Good work, though, by Eastern Province in just the setup. Very, very simple, just keeping to the simplistic things and doing them well, and then gaining a penalty for it because of the over-aggression of Transvaal going over the top.
Overall, EP haven't shown us too much. They've shown us flashes. But for a side who have got some big names into the side, we unfortunately have Michael Duplessis and Audrey Geldenhuys. A little bit disappointing, but of course, as we say, the season is young. Defying gravity yet again. Well picked up by Parkanan. Difficult bouncing ball. That's actually a good kick by Caboose van der Westhuizen. Kept it in. Oh, well played. Well done. You know, suspect out there for a long-haired winger. Looks a little bit unconventional, but took it well, used his head, and look what he's done. He's put his side up well into the EP half.
An excellent kick by Westhuizen just along the perimeter of the ground, and despite the fact that he didn't get the ball or the luck of the bounce of the touch, he still gained some 30 metres or so.
Often in these games, Mark, it'll be interesting to see if it happens that they're sort of nondescript for a long time. There's Caboose van der Westhuizen, well done. Nondescript, and then one side seems to break. And at this stage, I think EP look the more likely that. And often a side will then run in 10, 15 points in the last 20 minutes or so. tidying my mic, as you can see. Oh, nice little snipe. Well done. And again. Good play, Eastern Province. And a very good play. He plays like a redhead, doesn't he?
Excellent play by Greg Richardson in the movement twice there, just creating the options, and what he really needed was a bit more support from his back row to come on to those inviting passes, and who knows, Eastern Province might have done a little bit better than arriving at the 22-metre line.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say they need a score now if they're going to have a chance of winning this game. That's well played. Just the final pass going down. Unlucky. Just occasionally they get a big man running with somebody in support. If they can get that second pass, they can really do it. But up till now, the second pass has gone astray.
It's just an inch or two away from cohesion.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. A little bit too confident, Cameron Oliver there. Partially blocked down kick. But he's full of confidence. He's taking his time about his clearances. Got a second bite.
Kom ons kyk of Rian van Sail 'n teken kry om die bal ten minste op Adrie Geldnys in te gooi.
Want de Prewe daar die storm, maar die vlek het reeds geblaas. Losskakel wat in die kwartgebied staan. Daar werd skop daar vir Kabus van die Westhuizen en pragtig kruim in die hande. Daar die agtertoe aangegeef. Het hy net nie sy spanmaat wat mooi opgevolg het in die hande kon kry nie.
Ja, maar weer eens, Kabus is een van die mense wat dan tenminste vandag moet sê, min kanse, tenminste probeer het. Hy was daar baie goed opgevolg, bal gekry. Ongelukkig nie kon kontak maak nie, maar daar die 3 aangeef van hom daar was heeltemal aangewees. Weer eens Transvaal wat die indruk op die vlak hulle leer daar so verdediging is provinsie geen duim gee om te beweeg.
Kom uit na Transvaal kant toe. Dit is Philip Bronkhorst wat weer vir Kabus van die Westhuizen skop, maar hierdie keer is dit Frans van Langeberg wat pragtig daar die bal van die grond af in die hande kry. En dan sit van die Westhuizen wat weer agternaas. Dit is Philip Bronkhorst toch?
Ja, weer eens van die Oostelike provinsie wat uitgebuit word deur Transvaal. Absolute onnodige fout daar. En daar die 3 kom van slordig gespel. Hier is ons vir Craig Richardson. Probeer uitskop. Philip Bronkhorst gooi hom soos 'n sokkespeler in probeer. Craig Richardson wat hard probeer. En kom ons hou dit ophou. Die bal mooi dop wag. Die enige beweging duik op hom. En 'n baie goeie 3, individualistiese 3 deur Philip Bronkhorst.
Ja, dis eerlik seker die moeilikste skop wat Cameron Oliver nog pale toe gemik het. Die doelskop van hierdie 3 van Philip Bronkhorst.
Kom ons kyk of hy sy 100% rekord kan behou.
Hy so vinnig omspring. Dan is daar die bal deur.
Fantasties. Baie goed gedoen daar deur.
En so net die telling 27-12 nou vir Transvaal. En van daai 27 punte is net 8 punte nie aangeteken deur Cameron Oliver nie.
Ja, Cameron met die hoefkleedwedstryde wat deesdae gespeel word deur die provinsiale spanne kan verwaar sekere rekordboeke herskryf vir die Transvaal rugby span.
Baie goed teruggeklap na die op die kant toe. Craig Richardson klein kantjie om. Maar die plek het reeds geblaas. Daar was 'n hanteerfout. Cameron Oliver, Pieter de Haas. Baie mooi daar deur gee binnekant toe na Philip Bronkhorst toe. Dit is Martin Kloetse en dan Pieter Hendricks. Wat die bal so effe agter kry, maar dis ook 'n vorentoe aangee gewees.
Maar pragtig, die spel begin nou 'n bietjie beter lyk. Transvaal wat daar 'n redelike paar bewegings en opsies geëksploiteer het. En die oostelike provinsie wat net nie op
Very, very good passing, well-timed passing, and some straight running, which is the all-important factor of breaking through defences rather than shuffling across field.
Sure. This guy really is a difficult man to stop. Must come this way, must come this way. Oh, wrong way. And they've got the penalty for him. Well done, EP.
Well, suddenly the game coming to life.
It has indeed, but just that one vital decision where there was an overlap on the right and they went left. They created pressure, they've got a penalty, but I feel they would have scored if they'd come this way.
But what a superb run by Jacques Duplessis, though. A tigerish sort of run, slipping past tackles and running through the tackle very much in this the same style as Will Carling, the England captain, just running through the
Here
tackle.
we are, here's a look at it. Look at the centre of gravity. Very, very low centre of gravity, but very, very powerful around the hips. And made the ball available. And of course, really is a hell of an act to follow because his three older brothers were famous Springboks. Willie, Carl and Michael Duplessis, and being fourth in a line like that puts a lot of pressure on you, I think.
I think Transvaal might thank the referee for a bit of obstruction there as well. Otherwise it might have been another try.
3 points, deserved 3 points. Landry Van den Berg took a little bit of a knock, the flanker for EP, but he seems to be okay now. Yeah, and we see we've got Peter Durant coming on. Peter Durant, Transvaal reserve scrum half. And let's just have a quick scan around. Looks like Peter de Haas has gone off in the centre. And Peter Durant, a prolific try scorer, very, very quick runner. And it'll be interesting to see if they slot him in at the centre or play him on the wing. It looks like they're going to slot him in at centre. Has travelled around a bit, has played for the Free State when he was doing his army, and then of course played for Northern Transvaal for a couple of years. Peter Durant. Nice to see him getting a run in this very, very important centenary game. Now Martin Knutzer will run this back. Well, he looked for it. Good play by Eastern Province. They kicked that long one out, and then they came up in that line. Obviously, Martin Knutzer, you could see him here scanning the field, looking to see if there's any counter-attack on. But EP's line was there, and it's worked. They've now got an attacking line out. Amazing what one penalty and a bit of play can do for a side, Martin. And we've got about 14 minutes to go in the game. Nice pass and clearance. You notice with Garth Wright, absolutely no thought of a left hand there, off his left hand, off his right hand. Lovely 20-metre pass to give Oliver room. I think a lot of that is playing, of course, in so much dry conditions. It's so much easier to develop passes off both wings.
Well, both scrum halves have shown the capability of just using the wrists rather than the wind-up.
Yep. That's good play by the Transvaal back row. And now counter-charge, Turby Oosthuizen. This will be a lovely gallop. Tommy David stuff here. Gap's just starting to appear now, as we said. I think we could be in for a very good last 10 minutes.
I think we'll have a few more tries. It looks as if just the ferocity of the tackles are not quite as telling as they were in the first 40 or 50 minutes, and possibly a little bit of tiredness now will allow those gaps to appear, and we may be in for some spectacular stuff in the last 10.
I think we could be. Well played. And now he tries it for once. Now let's see if EP will counter-attack. Looking for it. Not really convincing. And this is Peter Durant for the placement. No, it's not. Martin Smith there. Looks like Peter Durant. Well played. Almost as though they've now decided they're going to run everything in the end, and that's good to see.
Well, much is made of the fact that this doesn't really count as a competition in Currie Cup terms, but more of a psychological battle as the teams, as warring factions, as it were, sort of settle their best units, their best individuals.
Yeah. Philip Bronco could tackle. Well played, nice variation by Transvaal. They used Philip Bronkhorst well, and what will please them is that they got the second phase ball then, and Garth trying to work the short side. This is a real Garth-right situation now. He is so fit, it's almost inevitably he will end up on the end of one of these things and pick up a try. A really magnificent and an example of fitness to anyone watching the game. Now, very good attacking front. Again, a typical example of Gary Parkinson. He really is a good player. He could turn a game. Yet I think he's been brought in and out so many times with confidence. He's maybe trying too hard to do well. Doesn't look happy.
Both teams, though, John, as we go into the last 10 minutes, pretty evenly matched. Highly impressive Eastern Province back row being able to rob Transvaal of the ball at vital points. But one is where Transvaal might swing the ball wide now and create a few opportunities.
They look for the short side, but well stuffed out. Now it's on. No, bad play. I suppose just coming on, you know, maybe a bit critical, but I feel there Peter Durant straightened and given. There was a 3-2.
It's an opportunity lost rather than created that time by the replacement.
Just as the last 10 minutes, 27-15 Transvaal winning. And a fair reflection, I think.
Yes, it's a game that has come and gone for both sides, really. They both have their purple patches, as it were. This may be one for Transvaal now.
Played. And he's in. Super try. Well done. Little bit of luck, I think we'll see. Brooks a great tackle. I think he ran into his own man, possibly the ref. I think they're talking to the ref and saying that it was an accidental offside.
I think Eastern Province might have every justification in complaining about that one, because there was obstruction. There was a man there, a would-be tackler.
Here we are. Let's have a look at it again. Using that crash ball variation on Bronkhorst, but I think he used his own man for a bit of unfair advantage. Here we are. Bash, bash, bash. Yeah, I think so. But still, he got away with it, and didn't he finish it well? He knew his man had the speed, and the minute Hendricks got the ball, he was away. Look, took the outside, went for the corner. Well played. Lovely, his first try for Transvaal. Nice moment. Lovely. Hope his mum's videoing it. 6 beers again?
I'll be an impoverished alcoholic by the end.
I think he just got slightly underneath that one, but when it's running for you, over she went. 33-15.
Isn't it amazing at rugby of this high quality that the referee's mistake, let's be a little bit charitable towards the referee, he might not have seen it, but the blatant obstruction there, and all of a sudden Transvaal just pulling away beyond Eastern Province's reach.
Yeah. I don't think anyone will mind too much, of course. If it was a Currie Cup match, Currie Cup points were at stake, there might have been a little bit more fair about it. Of course, having a big man like Bronkhorst in the middle, if you use him properly, is a tremendous option to have. Now, when he played for Northern Transvaal, they used to use him just to crash. It was quite easy to defend against, but Transvaal is starting to use it to set something up. Yeah, Cameron Oliver has played here, yeah. You did mention that. Here's him again, that time... and of course, Cameron Oliver will be delighted because he did play one game for Natal, which was a bit of a disaster. He made his debut, didn't play very well. Nice kick. I think I mentioned earlier that Greg Richardson's uncle is Darnie Kerber, and before Darnie moved to Western Province, they actually did play on the same side for EP, playing with Uncle Darnie. Cameron Oliver got a knock now.
I think some of those fellows welcoming the respite in this heat. As we go into the last 5 minutes, you often get, I'm not alleging that this is a tactical injury to give everybody a bit of a rest, but you often do find that in the warmer climate, as it were, when somebody volunteered to go down just to give everybody time to recompose themselves.
No, I think he has got a knock, and of course that would be tragic. He's played so well that he'll be the one man, that right boot of Cameron Oliver's. Very valuable for Transvaal. Another injury now. It's Adric Geldenhuys. Now that's interesting, Adric Geldenhuys. I wonder has he been carrying an injury, because it's the quietest I think we've ever seen him play. He really is a magnificent player. Here's the slow motion. Whoops, there you are.
Number 39, 46, 55, 48, 49, 36.
Well taken by Geldenhuys. Let's see if they move it.
Oh, nothing to lose at the moment, except to run it.
Oh, well played, scrum half. All right, one scrum half tackling the other. Fair enough. But nice confidence for a youngster.
I wonder, though, whether he did take the right option that time of going on his own when everybody else was aligned for an attacking ball, though.
Possibly. Possibly you're right. That's on. Of course, the message there was the move was going across the field, so 4 men could cover 5.
Yes, it needed somebody to straighten it up, and that's exactly what Jacques Duplessis attempted to do, although the shadow tackles coming across, shuffling tackles across field, smothered the movement.
Oh, well held fullback. Interesting that when that move came, Michael Duplessis set off on a dummy run to the short side. And I think that sort of dummy run is one aspect. That's going to be the next aspect that I think South African rugby is going to come. Guys setting off on dummy runs to open spaces. They haven't really been explored. 4 converted tries, 3 penalties. And of course, Cameron Oliver scored one of the tries. Lovely pass. Good play, ref. There's Jacques Duplessis again running through the eye of a needle. He's still going. He's very, very good at close quarters. Well played, and Cameron Oliver there, guilty of last-minute stuff.
But an excellent try, though, superbly taken, and at least some good running attacking play from Eastern Province, and superbly finished off.
Absolutely. There was an overlap here. The question was, would they finish it off? And they did. Well straightened by the fullback. Took the last man out. Cameron Oliver won't be too proud of this. Well done. That's really Andre Dusterhoff's only chance of the game. 1 pass, 1 try. Well done.
Oh, wonders whether in a Currie Cup match, if you just look at the replacement scrum half has come on at centre and the outside half, these would have been telling tackles. There's a bit of a stiff-arm challenge there, but nothing too serious. No. And then eventually just rounding it off. But a well-taken try.
Yep. Good kick. A bit of respectability on the scoreline. I think deserved as well. It's amazing the scores. I mean, a 33-21 game. But that would be a talking point, England, Wales, Scotland, wouldn't it? A very standard sort of score here.
It would be marvellous to see 33 points on a Welsh scoreboard at any time of the year.
At least in favour of Wales, eh? But what I mean is the games can be very, very tight, and yet the scores are high here. And a lot of it, of course, is due to the standard of place kicking. There's Garth Wright. Nearly. That would have been a typical Garth Wright try at this stage of the game. High tackle. His work rate is really incredible. And so often we say it, towards the end of a game like this, is drifting, suddenly appears at the end of a thing and gets his try. Magnificent play.
Eastern Province can't think there's much justice in the world in desperation, running out of their own 22 and nearly getting away with it. Jacques Duplessis, highly impressive, just driving through once again a couple of tackles and nearly getting away. And one really would like to see him in full flight.
Yeah,
so far that
we've been restricted
to viewing him in